Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your planning outlook on Tuesday the 9th of April. It's a quiet weather pattern at the moment. An east or southeasterly regime continues through the rest of this week and even onwards into next week. A chilly few days ahead. The wind strength will vary, dropping for a couple of days but strengthening again into the weekend to make things feel distinctly cold on the mountains. Temperatures then lifting gradually, I suspect, as we go onwards towards Easter. A slightly different temperature chart for you. Apologies for the very faint background of the British Isles. It's there somewhere. It's just how this computer model shows things. We'll get the general feel. We're a bit lower down for temperatures on this one. It's at 925 millibars. Now that represents about 800 or 900 meters at this stage. And temperatures actually above that won't change a great deal over the next few days. So not too much variation with increasing height. Warmest values will be away towards western mountains. Typically, it'll be around or below freezing in the mornings, lifting to around 2 to 4 Celsius, or locally higher towards northwest Scotland in particular through the remainder of this week. Heading onwards towards Friday and the weekend, chillier air off the North Sea will start to pull more extensively across Britain, so I suspect over the weekend values may stay down even just below freezing much of the day, lifting a bit, and on the western slopes may just claw their way above freezing, but more on the Pennines and the eastern highlands you're likely to stay a little bit below freezing through the daytime. This is onwards into Sunday, and you'll see again it's around or just above or below freezing through the course of the day. Now, just to move on over a few days into next week, gradually less cold air starts to become drawn in more from the southeast by this stage, temperatures then lifting gradually day on day to be above freezing on most mountains, with a gradual thaw continuing. Here's your charts for the next few days, and for Wednesday, high pressure is towards the north and there won't be a great deal of change in that in the days ahead. There's hardly any fronts to bother us. The one that's to the south of England will be slipping away, so lots of sunshine around, almost dawn till dusk in many places, especially across more western mountains. Strongest winds then are focused on the Pennines and Wales, where it will feel cold in exposure, lighter winds progressively further northwards. Lighter winds on the whole for most of the mountain areas into Thursday, a frost first thing in the morning, and again by evening with that chilly air in place. The winds are pretty light and there's hardly any cloud around to bother us, so a good day overall to be on the hills. Very similar trends into Friday. Best of the temperatures towards the northwest, and in some of the glens in northwest Scotland could be very pleasantly warm through onwards into the afternoon, again after a pretty widespread frost in the morning. Some notably cold temperatures are possible in some of the sheltered valleys and glens. Again, it's a dry day overall, there's hardly any cloud to bother us and the winds are fairly light. Very subtle changes through the weekend. It's still an east or a southeasterly. The easterly wind focused on England and Wales. The airflow a touch more towards the southeast across Scotland. High pressure stays northeast of us. A bit more cloud may get dragged in from the North Sea, but most of the cloud above the hills. Just watch for something maybe coming on to some eastern slopes. Weather fronts then are held away over the Atlantic, as they will be more or less into Sunday. The subtle change may just be again more in the way of cloud, which could just bring a bit of drizzly rain onto the Pennines, and the wind likely to be stronger. See, the isobars are that bit closer together. A very stable easterly, east-southeasterly again, which will be very gusty in places to lower slopes around the Pennines, in places around the Highlands as well. It might be even not far off gale force, so just be aware of that strengthening wind and those chilly temperatures, so expect it to feel cold on the hills this weekend, increasingly so then for Sunday. So we're looking to see if there's any changes developing, and it's a very slowly evolving pattern. The blocking area of high pressure, which is centred over Scandinavia, is hard to get rid of. There's low pressure systems out over the Atlantic. They'll try and make some inroads towards the southwest, bit of a complicated story as we head towards Easter. Essentially, we're just starting to draw up the air a bit more from Central and Southern Europe, so those temperatures will be lifting as the week goes on. That's the main change. Low cloud could just be a bit more extensive and more stubborn compared to what it's been this week. The air is that bit more damp for next week. Still, western mountains, most of the western hills, extensively free of that low cloud as the air passes over the hills, but the Pennines and the eastern side of the Highlands could be a bit more stuck with low cloud at times next week. Drizzly rain could just make things rather unpleasant. Now, towards the Easter period, a lot of uncertainty, obviously 10 days away. Low pressure looks somewhere around Biscay, high pressure somewhere towards Scandinavia and Eastern Europe. Still something of an east or southeasterly pattern that's in charge. Exact detail, of course, just a bit too early to get at this stage. So we'll keep an eye on that and update you in the next video on Friday. Stay right up to date with your details every day for your local area on the Mountain Weather website. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.